Let's start recording audio. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 833. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and staying subscribed to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to view all of the videos you can watch on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/MichaelSmithMTS. This show is brought to you by Instant House Call. If you are an MSP or an IT professional, this is what you need for your remote access solution. They provide unattended and on-demand remote access, and you can try it free for 15 days by clicking on the link on my website over at miketechshow.com. Don't forget to use the promo code MikeTechShow and get your free 15-day trial. This show is also brought to you by MagnusBox. MagnusBox is the best online backup service for your clients. You can become a partner and you can test drive the software and demo it, and it's the full version with all the features. Just go to magnusbox.com. It works across all software platforms: Synology, the Linux, Windows Server, Mac. It's everything you need. And you can check it out, kick the tires, try it. You'll love it. Don't forget to mention that you heard it here on the Mike Tech Show, because you'll get free white labeling and 50% off the platform fee for your first 3 months. Go to magnusbox.com. Great show lined up. I was crazy busy on Thursday that led into Thursday night, and there was no way to do the show, and that's why I figured, okay, let's schedule this for Saturday afternoon. And even today I'm putting it off till tomorrow. I have a ton of work for tomorrow because I have a client that their system is coming in today, and actually in Florida. He lives in Boca, and we're going to remote in tomorrow. My son, we're going to tag team it. My son first is going to use FaceTime to have him hook up the new computer, get that all connected. Then he's going to do all the beginning stuff. And his system died, and he had to get a new computer. And, of course, he's a MagnusBox client. So once my son gets Office back, everything ready to go, put an instant house call on it, unattended mode. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to then log in and start the restore for MagnusBox. So all of his data will be restored and it's set. Then I have a proof point configuration that SureWeb finally set up for one of my clients, that a new customer on SureWeb, and he needs the proof point encryption and protection. And so now I got to get that all configured. Yesterday, another new SureWeb client where I converted them from AOL. Now, that's still going to be tough because they have to, let everybody know on AOL that, hey, start coming to the new domain, their new email. Set that up yesterday. That was a piece of cake. But my Thursday problems, it's my biggest client, and they were having trouble with Mastercam, which they use for getting all of their the designs, and then it develops the CNC files so the big machines can, can make it. So Mastercam, the licensing was having a problem, and the engineers were too busy to kind of hang on the phone. So Thursday, 4 hours as we were trying to fix the licensing, and we have like a a Windows 10 system we call it the license server, and it's got the dongle. So it's still old school for the software. And the one tech just couldn't take it anymore. After a couple hours, he says, look, I don't know what's going on. It's not working. We thought we had it, and then we're not. And then he says, let's migrate you to the new software licensing, which is what they're doing for everybody anyway. And so we finally did that. But now, to not go crazy detailed, after we did that, there are existing configuration files that have to be converted to the new license. And then I got to put them on all the engineering systems. So they took those files. They took a couple hours. They got them back to me. And so Thursday night, I'm logging into all the engineering workstations and I'm updating those critical files. There's still a couple more that they have to do. And this is very interesting. I didn't know this. If you make a file using Mastercam, the post-process of the file for how to make it, where it generates that file, it is tied to the serial number of the software, so nobody can steal that design and use it on, Mastercam, but it's a different license. They won't be able to read the files. And I thought, that's kind of cool. So I didn't know that. I learned way more than I wanted to learn on Thursday about Mastercam. But so spent a long time getting that all taken care of. Client is very, very happy. So what's the rest of the show? Microsoft 365 email archive. Got a great email that I'm going to read in a minute from Jason. Solid state drive failures, and I'm seeing an uptick now. Then some very cool utilities and websites I'm going to demonstrate, and a bunch of Windows tips that I am going to bring that I'm going to show you and demonstrate it. And I got a new way of demonstrating on camera today that I'm going to continue to use. I have my test system, and my test system, this is good for the SSD story, had a Samsung 512 850 EVO die. I mean dead. Now, I'm glad it was a test system, but this is the second Samsung SSD that I've died. Now, I've always seen the OCZ SSDs, an alarming, 95% failure rate on those. So please never, ever buy OCZ. I don't even know if they make them anymore. Hopefully they don't. But almost every one that we've ever deployed has failed. And it's just like my advice, never deploy the Western Digital Blue drive at all, ever, 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 ever. Because they fail. I'm seeing an uptick on these failures of SSDs, but not the SP, the Silicon Power. I've had great success with buying them. As a matter of fact, I ordered a couple more this week, and I ordered two from Amazon, the 512 gig, and it told me this was my 140th purchase of that drive. So it gives you an idea of how many we have out there. Man, if that starts to fail, it's horrible. Anyway, just very surprised at the Samsung SSDs failing. So, and that's a system we hardly use, that test system. So what I've done, I have redid that test system, which is what I'm going to remote into to do all my demonstrations today for all the websites, all the different Windows tips. And I adjusted the resolution so it'll look good on camera. It's not going to be real small for when I normally go to my screen. So I'm not going to impact the system I'm using right now, which is really good. Okay. When I talked about a story of email archiving, Jason Miller wrote in, and I forgot to read this last week. He says, Mike, you're talking about making a PST in Outlook, which would make that on the local machine. That is correct. You can actually do an online archival with Office 365. In the Office 365 portal, you can even set up auto archiving across all users at the same time, depending on what rules you want to set. If you have a 50 gig mailbox, most of the time you get 100 gigs of archival space. So typically, you will set up rules to archive after 2 to 3 years. This helps ensure that they don't run out of space. And if they do, it's not a big deal to add a different license that gets you 100 gigs for your mailbox. And just to see if you can add Exchange Online only plan to which has 100 gigs to an existing plan that has an email license. You just have to click the little drop down arrow and choose the proper mailbox license to have the 100 gigs. I did not know that. So that is very cool. And I thank you so much, Jason, for that. And that is something I'm going to do. My client that hit that limit on Microsoft 365 happens to be on vacation for a couple weeks. So this is perfect timing. And when she gets back, and I'm going to investigate this and get her set up with this. So nice to have that in your tool bag for recommendations for archiving, because I'm starting to, even though I put a lot of clients on SureWeb, I do have a lot on Microsoft 365. Okay, so let's get to some of these programs that I want to talk about. All right. Oh, let's see. Marv is in the chat. Mike, you'll need to sync the license with SureWeb for the licensing to work. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Let's. I'm getting my screens ready, and I am going to now display, but I'll also talk about it, so don't worry if you're only listening to the audio portion. We're now going to talk about these utilities, and one, as we needed to test the battery. How is the health of the battery on a laptop? And good old Nursoft, first link in the show notes tonight, is the battery archiving program. Battery archiving. See, I got archiving on the brain. It's Battery Info View from Nursoft, and you can quickly run this. It's a standalone utility, and when you run it, you will get the capacity. You will, fully charged capacity, and it will tell you basically the health you can get of, current capacity in percentage. You get, if it's fully charged, you can, there is a place, and I'm looking for it. I don't see it here. There is a spot where you can get literally the health, because when we ran this for our client, the battery health was only 41% for his laptop, and that's why it wasn't lasting. So anyway, I thought this was a great little utility. It's free, and remember, it is portable, which I love for any kind of a client to use. So this next utility, ShareX, screen capture for more details than the snipping tool. And this is just getsharex.com, and you have a ton of options after capture tasks. All kinds of imaging and things you can do with getting your screen capture. So it's free, and it's just a lot better than the snipping tool, although I use the snipping tool all the time. I'm remoted into a client. A great example for ShareX or the snipping tool. I have a remote screen up. So let's say Instant House Call, remoted up, and I need the licensing for QuickBooks, and I have the client hit F2, and I need to capture that and put that in my notes. And so I will run normally Snippet, but now I'm going to start going to ShareX because this got highly recommended, works for Windows 11, Windows 10. Check it out and let me know, what you think of that. Next utility, I'm always in search of the perfect Windows media manager where I used to use Music Bee. I tried. I lay out all my music in a hierarchy on the Synology on a music share. So I don't use software to do it. I manually organize everything. But I've been seeing an uptick of recommendations on Mediamonkey. So I figured, well, let me check this out. So you can organize all of your media, and you can have over 100,000 audio and video files, audiobooks, podcasts. So it's doing a lot. You can share it. It has not only the Windows app, but also you have Android compatibility. I didn't see Apple. So I see Android and Windows, but check out Mediamonkey. Now, this is from our moderator, Mike Cooley, Taz Cools in the chat, and he sent me this link yesterday. Scam Advisor. This is where you can check a website before you buy it. So I paused the audio right now because I'm going to bring up live one of my Facebook. I'm going to bring up Facebook, and we're going to see an ad. And let's see. Now I'm not going to get it because I am just riddled with ads. Of course it's not. Now that I want something fast, it's not going to happen. Oh. Hey, someone give me something to put into to check this. Oh, here we go. So CHARLES. So let's see. I don't have the website URL, but Charles TYR. Let's search this. See, you need a valid website. No, I don't have any right now, so let's go. Hold on. Let's all right. I was kind of looking, and of course, I always talk about scams on Facebook, and I don't have one at my disposal to type in here to demonstrate, but go check this out. It's www.scamadvisor.com, and at least before you make a purchase of something that a website you've never touched before, give it a try and type it in and at least see what Scam Advisor. There's a Facebook Scam Busters group that I follow, and I'm always looking at that. Right now, my rule of thumb is never, ever buy anything from Facebook if you don't know. Certainly I get Amazon ads. I get, I'm big, so I get DXL ads, or I get, there's ads, I get Phillies ads all the time for things. So yes, there are legitimate ads, and the ones I recognize and the ones I purchase from, not a problem. But anything new, you can't trust on Facebook, and that you've never heard of. And I don't care what the reviews are. A lot of them are lies and incorrect. So at least if you have to buy something and you check it out, here's another site that you can at least look at. And Taz, thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And that'll be also in the show notes. So now I want to talk about some interesting tips that you can take a look at for Windows. And this one really is very cool. Run Control Panel. Then search in Control Panel ease of access if you don't see it, readily available. So go ease, EASE, and there we go, ease of access center. So click that.
Always scan this section.
All right. That was checked to always read this section aloud. So I just unchecked that. This is to when you hover your cursor over a window, it automatically activates it rather than you having to click. So I thought this was interesting. So you go down, make the mouse easier to use, and then you got a lot of options here. There's the one I want to show is activate a window by hovering over it with the mouse. Click apply. And now let's open up a couple windows. Oh. Give me a second here as I am... Wow. I'm trying... Now I'm... There we go. So as I move my mouse over, you see I don't click, and it just automatically activates. Very cool. Now, I want everybody to look at this keyboard here and start counting at the bottom of this taskbar. I have Edge, I have the File Explorer, then I have Control Panel. So let's close Control Panel. Something that I never realized and I ran into, if you click the Windows key, and that's on the left-hand side between Control and Alt. So I'm going to click on the Windows key and the number of what's on the toolbar. So the third app is Control Panel, so that's 3. So Windows 3 will launch Control Panel. Windows 1 would launch Edge. So based on how many you have, the Windows key and the number on the taskbar will launch it. Never knew that. Just some pretty cool tips here. If you want the task manager, and let's say you don't have the toolbar because normally you want to right click, and you can pick task manager. So let's say you want task manager. Then there's always these shortcut keys that you should really have like a cheat sheet somewheres. Well, here it's Ctrl+Shift+Escape. So Ctrl+Shift+Escape, and boom, there's Task Manager. And you can see everything I have running. We'll go more details. And this system's pretty clean because this is the one where the hard drive crashed, and we just, I literally just set it up a few days ago. So very, very cool. And then the last Windows tip here, night light setting. In the search, just start typing night light. Just literally, I type the word night, and you get night light settings. If you have a system like a laptop or something, and it's in your bedroom or in a room where you're laying down and you don't want the light of the computer, you can turn on the night light, and you can even schedule it, and you can pick the strength of the light, and it's like a lighter blue. It'll dim, so You don't have to worry about the screen. Maybe it's not a laptop. Maybe you got, in your bedroom, or you have like multi-screens and you don't have to turn them off. You can set a night light. So now, these tips, these very specific tips, I'm going to cut and paste the details of them, and they're going to be in the notes on YouTube. So if you want to see these actual tips, then what you'll want to do is go to the latest show for 833 at my YouTube site, and you will be able to actually look at these tips. If you can't view the YouTube, or you're listening and you're like, boy, I forgot what he said, on how to do this. So you can easily just go to youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS, and I'm going to add these tips because there's no real link for them to go to these tips. They're just, the quick shortcuts on what to type and what to press. So I'm going to have them in the show notes for over at YouTube. I think I'm scanning my notes now just to make sure. Did I cover everything I wanted to cover today? And I think I did. So that is it for today's show. Hope everybody's doing well. And I should be back in the normal time slot on Thursday night at 7:30 next week. So everybody continue to have a great weekend and a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.